Hey everyone, we're back with another week of Find Your Film. This is for the week ending January 14th, 2022. Eric Holmes has had a full day of work. He's called himself Homestel Poseidon. This is based on a Poseidon type of movie that we're going to be covering. How are you doing, Eric? How's that mic going?
Pretty good. I think the mic's doing good. You tell me.
I was nagging Eric Holmes listeners within the last couple of weeks about how he was coming under on the audio, and that now he blows me away with some really good audio. Brian Eno audio. How's his audio, Bruce? What do you think?
It's sexy and deep and mellifluous.
Mellifluous. Don't use fancy words to me and Eric. We don't understand what you're saying.
I couldn't even say it, so.
Great Bruce and Eric on Light 101.9. Thank you for joining us this evening.
Okay, yes. You know what? I'm gonna
that
second
sounds silky smooth.
Sounds of Eric Holmes. Very, very silky smooth. Eric Holmes. Very, very good, sir. We have Bruce, the tragedy of Purkey. Bruce, you've actually put in not just an honest day's work, you've kind of double dutied on the work. Well, actually, I was considering one of the movies that we're going to be reviewing this week. I should have said double duty instead of double duty. But Bruce, where did you just come from? Can you tell our listeners?
I was in a panel interview with the director of BELLE, which we're going to talk about in this episode. So I got to ask one question, but it was still a lot of fun to listen to the director talk about that movie.
Was your question a brilliant one? What question did you ask?
It was so not brilliant, but that's okay. I'll live with it.
You didn't ask him what his favorite color was, did you?
No. I just asked him about all the movies he likes and not his movie. I didn't even mention his movie. No. So,
Great question, Bruce. We have a whole bunch of movies this week to cover. We have BELLE, Italian Studies. Oh my gosh, I think rumor has it that Bruce Purkey really loved Italian Studies, that he's actually going to Italy with that movie in tow to watch it on the flight over. Italian Studies will be your in-flight movie. You're going to watch it 8 to 10 times, and then land in Rome where you're going to learn the language. That's how much Italian Studies moved you, correct, Bruce Purkey?
It's mucho bella. I don't know if that's Italian. I'm not sure.
I don't
Mamma
know
mia.
what kind of... Oh, very, very good. We have that. We have Hotel Poseidon per Eric's moniker this week of Homestel Poseidon. And of course, last but definitely not least, Bruce and Eric saw the new... Is it Ethan Coen or Joel Coen who directed The Tragedy of Macbeth? Do you know which Coen it is, Eric Holmes?
I believe it is Joel Coen.
Joel Coen, the director of The Tragedy of Macbeth.
Oh, I'm sorry. Joel Coen.
Joel Coen. Very, very good. Currently streaming on Apple TV. They're going to chime in on whether this movie... Bruce, is Macbeth, is it based on something good, Shakespeare, right? Is that the dude who wrote it? What do you think?
I think so. Maybe.
Yeah, I'm not a little bit over my... Eric, is it Shakespeare, Macbeth? Did it ring any bells, this movie? Do you understand the language?
Shakespeare. I've heard of that... I believe I've heard of that guy. He's pretty good from what I hear.
Yeah.
He's pretty good.
These things called sonnets. We'll see if... I don't know. Shakespeare is a big barrier of entry to me. We'll see if Bruce and Eric convince me to actually watch this Coen brother movie. So these are the movies we're going to be featured. Bruce and Eric both have recommendations. But before we get to the lean meat of it, let's get to Eric Holmes. You have a whole bunch of movies that you saw, just not within the purview of our weekly Find Your Film thing. What have you been doing, watching so many movies? What kind of little nuggets do you have for us this week before we get into our main reviews? You saw like an alien film or something like that? Something very quick?
Well, I posted the Eye in the Sky on the Cinematics Facebook page. Rewatched that, and then of course I had to do Official Secrets, and then in doing that I saw a movie called The Angel, which I think we might just talk about that next week. But
okay, The Angel. What led you to The Angel after watching?
So Eye in the Sky and Official Secrets is on Netflix, and then The Angel was one of those. If you like that, you'll like this, and I watched it and I liked it. So there's a short version. And then I listened to on Audible, they had a audio play of Alien 3 with Lance Henriksen, Michael Biehn's on it. It was kind of neat because I guess it was based off of an early script of Alien 3. Because if you know anything about the production of Alien 3, they shot without a script, which is kind of inaccurate because they've had like a bunch of different scripts and rewrites and stories on the way up. And as far as I can tell, this was just one of the early scripts that they liked, and maybe they tweaked a little bit and then made a audio drama out of it, and it was pretty good. I still think the Alien 3 that we got is the better one, especially since Ripley's not in, like with the Alien 3 where Ripley is pretty much in it and everyone else is dead. This is the exact opposite, where everyone else is in it, but Ripley, she's not dead, but she's like away throughout most of the story. And this plays kind of like Aliens Part 2.
If you're a fan of Alien 3, and I guess if you're a fan of Audible audio stuff, is this highly recommended for you? As far as just
yeah, it's about 2 hours long. I was doing a parts run up to Denver and back, so I just listened to it there, and yeah, it wasn't like one of those, oh, this is the one they should have made, but it was a neat curiosity, kind of like oh, this is what could have been. I've talked about if they were ever to remake Gremlins, always, go back to the original Christopher Columbus script, the really dark script, and just do that exactly as it is. And as a way to see what could have been. I think if you were to remake it, that'd be the interesting way to do it. This is kind of that, but with the audiobook or an audio drama form. Just like, this is what an Alien 3 could have been, wasn't, but this is, give you an idea.
Have you always known about this Audible release, or is it something you've been meaning to listen to all these years, or it just came up?
I heard about it about a month or two ago, and I just happened to it was one of those things. I heard about that and I was like, oh, I should listen to that. And then I had some credits and I was like, and it popped up. I'm like, oh yeah, that was a thing. Fuck it. I'll listen to it now. And that's what I did. If you like the Alien movies, give it a shot. It's not going to knock your socks off, but it's kind of fun. It'll kill 2 hours.
Well, a good way to kill 2 hours. Eric Holmes was early to the game last week when he actually reviewed BELLE. So our featured review this week is only featured because all three of us are going to review it now that Eric reviewed it last week. He praised it last week. He was finding it a little bit hard on how to actually describe the movie. And I was wondering, Eric, I mean, it's just a movie. Just describe it. And then I just started watching BELLE and I go, wow, Eric did a great job in trying to describe what the effing bleep BELLE is about. All I'm going to say, Bruce, and you can actually, since you're more eloquent and can embellish on this, it's a modern day take on the Beauty and the Beast tale, taken within the realm of, I know a lot of people hate this word, amidst the worlds of virtual reality and the impending metaverse, where people will be their own digital avatars. Digital avatars is a big part of what BELLE is about. There's a lonely, shy girl who, when she enters this different world, I believe it's the world of, I think Bruce or Eric, correct me, the world of You, or maybe the You is the name of the app that she goes into, and she becomes this very popular singer named BELLE, and she has a beautiful voice, and millions and millions of users of this app, of this game, actually flock to her singing and whatnot. The animated film is a take on the metaverse, the virtual reality, the destructiveness of social media, while also being a modern day take on Beauty and the Beast. Bruce, is there anything else I can add regarding plot embellishments or just layers regarding what BELLE is about?
I think one of the biggest things, I think I mentioned this when we talked about it briefly before, one of the biggest things I would like to accentuate is that this is only partly in that world. Because I think that even the featured trailers and stuff kind of make it look like you spend a lot of time in the You, which you do, but I would say you spend at least as much, if not more, in kind of the, quote, real world. I was also struck by how in this movie, neither is considered great and neither is considered bad. You know what I mean? Like, a lot of times you're going to have this alternate reality virtual world, and they're going to paint it as, like, this is fake, and this isn't the real you, and this is all, you need to be yourself. There's some elements of that, and there's some elements that are really good about this alternate world. And the last thing I would mention is, without spoiling how this ends, I really, really appreciated the journey that Suzu, who is the main character, the real world character that becomes BELLE, the way that she kind of comes to a couple different climactic moments in this movie, and it is not in a really stereotypical way. It's a really emotional way, I thought. So I think it's a really, really effective movie.
Yeah, BELLE's very resonant. Here's the thing, the barrier of entry to this is, when you think of BELLE, it is a very grown-up animated film. So if you're thinking of taking your I have a 5-year-old niece, she's not going to watch BELLE. There are things that happen in BELLE that are very traumatic, okay? That I don't know, 5, 6, 7-year-old kid can take. Maybe I'm wrong. I'm not a parent. I'm just a funkle. So I don't know. But there are some grown-up moments in this. Or maybe, who knows? Maybe this is some of the tragic moments. You're laughing, Eric. What you got?
Oh, the Funkle.
The Funkle. I really ended up really loving this movie. It is melodramatic at moments, but that's part of the sweeping epic that is Belle. I agree with you, Bruce, that it goes in a certain direction that you're thinking it's going to be predictable, especially if you know the Beauty and the Beast story, but it goes in a completely different twisty direction, which I thought was very, very cool. Tackles heavy subjects pretty well. For me, this is a 4-star film, highly recommended. I forgot, Eric, how many stars did you give this last week?
Shoot, I don't remember. I don't think it did because I talked about this on Cinematics, so I don't think I talked about it here. But this would for sure be.
My bad.
This for sure would be a 4-star movie, probably 4.5. This one's really good, and the ending really hit home with me. I mentioned, it was very similar to a Satoshi Kon movie, and those movies are fantastic. So, and this one's just as good as those, I think. And yeah, this gets high marks for sure.
Eric, again, that's 4 stars for you.
I might even go. You know what? I'm gonna go 4.5 on this, and this could probably be a 5-star movie if I watch it a bunch of times because it's just one of those movies that it hits. That movie that calls it shot and nails it. And I think the more I watch it, the more I like it, and I already like it a lot. So I want to give it a 4.5 with room to grow.
4.5 with room to grow. And Bruce, I believe you gave this movie 5 stars.
I did. I give this 5 stars. I think that what does it for me is the finale. It's really good up until the finale, and then I think the finale nails it, and then it has another alternate finale, which I don't usually like, kind of 2 endings, but both endings are really, really effective and surprised me, and I loved them. So I give it 5 stars.
Okay, again, so that is Belle. So that it's going to be playing January 12th on IMAX and select theaters on IMAX theaters. 5 stars for Bruce Purkey. Bruce, this has a shot, Belle, being maybe actually one of your favorite films. Maybe it might be a top 20 in 2022. Don't you think?
It sure could be. I've thrown it into that file, which I begin every year. It's the only one in that file so far, and then as the year goes on, I will weed and resort that file, and it might make it. Psycho Gorman was in that file early on last year, and it made it to the top, so you never know.
Very, very cool.
It seems to be a common thing. You got Psycho, at least for me, the first year we did this, it was Uncle Peckerhead. Yeah. Came out early in the year. Psycho Gorman. We haven't done the list yet, but I mean, Psycho Gorman's pretty sweet. And this one as well. So, they say January is the dumping ground, but there's always at least the 1 or 2 gems that last throughout the year.
Yes, yep. And obviously Belle, again, Eric Holmes, you gave it 4.5 stars. Belle is going to be one of those movies that's going to be a very, very special film for a lot of people. Hopefully, more people will get to see Belle once it gets to streaming or maybe Blu-ray or DVD. Bruce, was I wrong regarding that kids who are 5, 6, 7 shouldn't watch Belle? Or are they?
Yes, you were wrong.
Okay, I was wrong. So kids...
Because what you're referring to is a time-honored tradition in Disney classics from years gone by, if you think about it. So, yeah. Yes. No, this is for anybody.
This is for anybody. Okay, so I stand corrected as the Funkle. Again, we apologize. You're going to hear some idiot edits by me because this idiot me had a horrible Wi-Fi situation. So it might sound a little bit edited, but Eric was laughing at my Funkle jokes because that's what I call myself, Funkle Greg.
Hello. Thank you again for making such a beautiful and emotionally resonant movie. I was kind of blown away by this. Kind of going along the question we just had, I was struck by the fact that in your virtual world of you don't make it automatically a negative thing, and you don't make the I guess the quote real world a positive thing necessarily. There's an intermix between the two. My question to you would be, how did you balance and view the difference between the quote real world and the you world, and how you wanted that to affect the viewer?
今回、本当にこの映画作っていただいてありがとうございます。すごく素敵なビジュアル的にもそうですし、そういう感情的な映画だったと思います。先ほどの質問から追加という形で聞くんですけど、すごいバーチャルの世界を 100% ネガティブな描き方をせず、で同時にそのいわゆる現実世界っていうものを100% ポジティブじゃないようにも描きつつ、結構そこら辺のバランスをうまく取れてると私は感じたんですが、それってなんか監督の中でどういうふうにやっぱり整理されているのかな、そのバーチャル世界の見せ方といわゆる現実世界の見せ方。
これはね、なんかすごいやっぱりなんかインターネットの描写みたいなことをこの 自分もまあそのインターネットを舞台にして映画を作ってるんで、他の、ね、映画監督が作った作品を見るんですけども、なんかこうね、なんか二項対立的な描き方が多い気がするんですよ。つまりそのなんだろう、現実はつまんないけどもインターネットの世界は素晴らしいとか、もしくはインターネットの世界は嘘にまみれてひどい世界なんで人間性を失ってるから、現実に戻れとかね、自然に戻れとか昔に戻れとかっていうようなこととか、なんかこうね、どっちがいい悪いみたいなことをなんか言うんだけども、僕が思うにはやっぱりどっちの世界にも両方いい面悪い面があるっていうことなんですね。この映画っていうのは、美女と野獣がベースになってるけど、美女と野獣っていう曲っていうね、反対なものが同時に存在する世界っていうふうなことなんで、今回の「ベル」って映画は、あらゆるところでこう2つの、なんだろう、世界のなんか対比みたいなことを、どのアングルにおいても、そういうふうに見えるように、作りました。それはその、バーチャルと現実的対比だけじゃなくて、さまざまな、なんか学生の、恋愛模様についてもそうだし、親子の関係においても全然別の親子関係がそれぞれ描かれてるみたいな。でそういうようなことをの中でこの映画のなんていうかそのなんだろう、変化する社会の中で僕らはどうやって生きていくかみたいなことをなんか描けたらいいなと思ったんですね。誰か、何かを悪者にするわけじゃなくて、そういう中で、何か、サバイブしていく、現代をサバイブしていくにはどうするかっていうことについての映画だと思います。
Because I have made a few films myself using the internet as a backdrop, I tend to watch other films that also take this idea of a virtual world or that take the theme of the internet and tries to add some commentary to it. And oftentimes I noticed it's very extreme, the narrative or the message that I think the author or creator is trying to deliver, which perhaps the real world is really boring, but when I go into the internet, it's this vast, wondrous space and world. Or the opposite narratives I often see where the internet is this evil thing that strips us of our humanity and we need to return back to nature and go offline. And the narratives are oftentimes very extreme, but I wanted to, in my movie, take into account the good and bad sides of both. And the story by which this movie is inspired, Beauty and the Beast, also has these extremities that coexist. So whatever angle you look at this movie from, I wanted to make sure that there were different contrasting elements sort of pulling at each other, the virtual world versus reality, the sort of student romance, the relationship between parent and child. There are multiple contrasts simultaneously occurring. And what I felt was that in a very kind of shifting and changing society, it's really hard to figure out, well, how do we live? What's the answer? But hopefully this movie will help people in some ways come up with their own answer of how to navigate the present day kind of social constructs that we have.